What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nightcast. So tonight we're going to be talking about individuals' encounters with black-eyed people. So we got some stories on Reddit here, and I also got a personal encounter of my own that I'd like to share that's creepy as hell. And these stories creep me out because, I've seen a black-eyed person myself, like a solid black-eyed person.
So this first story is from Jackson0 on Reddit. Black-eyed man. I work retail. I'm checking this sweet old couple out at the register. Having a wholehearted, typical retail worker speaking to a customer conversation, and then boom, I look into the husband's eyes for the first time. The man has jet black eyes. Store goes silent. No one speaking. I'm overcome with an overwhelming feeling of dread. I wasn't exactly terrified. I was more entranced. Again, the whole store is dead silent. It's as if I've been gripped from my reality and brought into this old man's dimension. I wish I could tell you guys I looked at my surroundings to see why everyone went quiet. But I was just so overcome with the plethora of emotions staring into this man's eyes that I just physically couldn't look away. And then just like that, the man leaves with his wife. I hand him his receipt, he takes his things, and leaves. I was out of breath. I had to take my break early. I'm ashamed to admit I was almost ready to cry. I've literally never been through anything, and I mean anything like that. I did some research when I got home, and I found out a lot about black-eyed children. What was strange about this situation was the man had to be at least early 70s, maybe late 60s. What could this mean? It's just so hard to imagine a man casually wearing black contact lenses. And these weren't enlarged pupils. There was not an ounce of white in his eyes. And that feeling of dread, the silent store, and the time that seemed to go on forever. This had to be an encounter. I know what I saw, and I promise you all this story is 100% true. I'm worried no one will believe me, but I feel like this would be the best place to share my experience.
Jesus, man.
Wow.
These stories actually do scare me.
Yeah.
Because I've seen one of these guys myself, and I'm not crazy or anything. And I also have a friend who's also seen these black-eyed people. He's not crazy. He's got a good job. And just hearing these stories, what are these things, or why are people seeing them? It's easy to say, oh, this guy's schizophrenic or whatever. But if a lot of sane people are seeing them, like stable people, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, our mutual friend, this story really hits like kind of close because we know him and he's like a perfectly normal dude. Job, goes to school, whatever. And it's very strange hearing this story because there are so many like similarities between his story and this guy who's we've never even met.
Didn't he say like everything went silent when he saw that dude?
The guy we know,
this guy says the same thing.
Says the exact same thing. The store goes silent and he feels this not like terrified feeling, but like entranced. Like he can't look away. Like something is like almost like speaking to him, holding him in a trance.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
there is the argument that they're wearing like solid black contact lenses, but what do you think about that? Do you think all these dudes that people see are wearing solid black contact lenses?
Generally, you see that like it's kind of like a fashion thing, like younger generation, like people my age maybe. But this guy says this guy's got to at least be 70 years old or something.
Yeah.
So like some 70-year-old guys, he must be pretty freaking popular over here wearing the freaking black contact lenses. He's all cool, but
yeah, it's hard to see like a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Like emo or goth or something.
Yeah.
Wearing black contact lenses. So this is a comment on that same story by Reddit user Sam Sasalt. And he says, I also saw an elderly black-eyed woman on the street. Same feeling, same sense of dread. Since that, I discovered the black-eyed children stories, but never any of the black-eyed older people. I'm so glad you posted this. So this user, named Little Old Granny, says this. I actually had something similar many years ago. I was in a store by the milk section, and this older woman was reaching into the cooler door next to me. She locked eyes with me, and I just knew I was in the presence of unspeakable evil, as I felt the light in my own soul respond. She smirked at me knowingly and walked away. I have never had anything like this happen again. I was very shaken up and have never forgotten, even 40 plus years later. Wow, that was 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
Yeah, it really speaks to like how these encounters make you feel, to remember it that detailed and remember how it made you feel 40 years prior.
I mean, she didn't mention anything about the black eyes, but I mean, if maybe she forgot to mention the black eyes or something because she was posting a comment. I mean, if this thing did have black eyes in her story, did solid black contact lenses exist 40 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
And it also is very strange how she says that when she looked at it, the person standing next to them, it kind of gave her this smirk, like it knew she saw it, but it didn't really care.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Servant of evil. Here's another story from another Reddit user, Servant of Evil. Hey Reddit, just a quick post. I was driving my car and came to a stoplight. I look over my shoulder and I see this man that keeps staring at me. I didn't have my glasses on at the time, but I could have sworn the man had black eyes. No white, no nothing, just all black eyes. While I was looking at him, I felt overcome with fear, and worst of all, he kept staring at me. I tried to look away, but he just kept staring. Finally, the light turned green. God, I was so relieved. I used to think having paranormal encounters like this would be fun, but I never want to experience something like this again.
All right, guys, so now I want to go into my story of my encounter that I had with the black-eyed person. And I think the creepiest thing about this story is what this guy was doing. All right, so I was about 20 years old at the time, and I was walking around a city. I'm not going to mention the name of the city, but I was just walking around, looking at all the stores, looking for a place to eat. And I came across this store that it had a sign outside of it that said psychic readings. You know, it kind of sparked my interest. I was curious, so I went in. And it was one of those new age shops. You know, they had books, rocks, crystals, a bunch of items from different religions. When I walked in, to my left, there was this psychic guy sitting at a table, and there was like a line of people waiting to see him, and he was giving a reading or whatever. I've never been to a psychic or anything, so I don't know what they do or how they do it. I can't remember if he had cards or anything on the table. I really don't remember that. But I walked around them, and I found myself at this bookshelf where the psychic guy was like in front of me to my right, like only 6 feet away. He was facing forward. He was like a middle-aged guy, late 30s, white, chubby. And I just remember looking at him and thinking to myself, I wonder how this con artist does it. I wonder how this guy tricks all these people into thinking that he's actually a psychic. As soon as I finished that thought, this dude looks up at me. And his eyes are solid black, like no white in them at all. And this guy's only like 6 feet away, mind you, and this place is brightly lit. So I know what I saw. I like wanted to make sure that I was really seeing what I was seeing. So I kind of stared at this guy for like 5 seconds, and he stared back at me, like with solid black eyes. And I really didn't get scared. I don't know why. I didn't get scared. Like I was like just thinking like, okay. But it was weird as hell, and like I don't know why a psychic like telling people's fortunes would have like solid black contacts in. I mean, wouldn't that scare the hell out of your customers? So I mean, like, what do you think these things are?
From the things I've read, you know, online, from exorcists, from, you know, it depends on which religion you are and which culture you're from, but from Christians namely, I've read that many of them experts, Christian experts, I guess so, priests or exorcists or something, believe that this is an indication of possession, a sign that the person who you're seeing these eyes in is actually possessed by a demon.
So I got something else to share that I think could kind of tie into this story. I actually bought a book by an Italian Catholic priest and exorcist of the Diocese of Rome. His name is Gabriel Amworth, and the book is called An Exorcist Tells His Story. And in his book, he talks about demonic possession and stuff like that. And in one part of the book, he talks about ways that people could fall victim to extraordinary satanic activity. And one of the ways is with God's permission. Another way is as innocent victims of an evil spell. The third way is due to a grave and hardened sinful condition. The fourth way is through association with evil people or evil places. Now, in the part of the book where he talks about association with evil people and places as a way that people could fall victim to satanic activity, he mentions associating with warlocks, witch doctors, or certain types of card readers as a way that people could fall victim to this. And that's very interesting to me because, I mean, people often associate psychics with card readers and stuff. So I wonder if, according to him, I wonder if psychics are included in this category. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, that's scary as hell to think about. If this guy was a demon, was he using his like psychic abilities or his position as a psychic to try to corrupt the souls of other people so that they would go to hell?
Man, that's fucking creepy.
So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any scary stories of your own that you'd like to send us, you can send them to the email address nightcasters13@gmail.com. And if we read your story on here, we can give you a shout out to your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever you'd like. But if you'd like to remain anonymous, we could do that too.